Greetings everyone. Welcome to IHRD Canada. I am Murugan. These are my teammates.
I am Divya.
I'm Preethi, and now let's see the national background of Canada. Canada is a country in North America. It's 10 provinces and 3 territories extended from Atlantic to the Pacific and northward into the Atlantic Ocean, covering 9.98 million square kilometers, making it the world's second largest country by total area. Its southern and western border with the United States, stretching 8,891 kilometers, is the world's longest binational land border. Canada's capital is Ottawa, and its two largest metropolitan areas are Toronto and Montreal. Mr. Justin James is a Canadian politician who is the 23rd and the current Prime Minister of Canada. He is the second youngest Prime Minister in Canadian history after Joe Clark. Canadian identity refers to the unique culture, characteristics, and condition of being Canadian, as well as many symbols and expressions that set Canada and Canadians apart from other people and cultures of the world. The Canadian culture has primarily influenced by various European cultures and traditions of which constitute nationalities, particularly British and French culture. There are also influences from the cultures and the indigenous people and from the neighboring USA. Core Canadian values include fairness, equality, and social justice. This is evidenced by the country's approach to governance, which includes public health care, higher taxation, promote the redistribution of health and wealth, and legalization of same-sex marriage and the abolition of capital punishment and the suppression of far right politics. Canada generally has a very open, accepting attitude towards other cultures and religions. Talent acquisition in Canada, most common Canadian recruiting source is job board. Many professionals will look up an advertisement on the popular job board, then also check the company's recruitment website. However, uploading curriculum vitae in a database is becoming a more popular option, so one may want to search the right candidates on the well-respected resume databases. Just as the culture shifts among provinces, so do the recruiting laws. Each province has the authority to create its own regulations while following the Canadian government's overarching staffing and recruiting laws. For example, Ontario has the Ontario Human Rights School, that is OHRC, which applies the job advertisement. To stay within the law, the advertisement cannot contain any statements, qualifications, or references that could be seen as discriminatory. One must phrase all interview questions in a non-discriminatory manner. One could break the Canadian character of human rights and freedoms if he or she directly or indirectly asks a candidate about their personality, characteristics such as their age, ethnic origin, and disability. For Canadian HR professionals, managers, consultants, business owners, and non-profit executives, employment law is undergoing constant change in it, more important than ever for employees to have HR policies and procedures and to keep them up to date. When there is a claim, the court are carefully reviewing HR policies and determinant if management has met with their duty of care. This is a key factor in deciding if the employer acted responsibly and has a defense or is liable. But the policies have benefits far beyond minimizing risks. Strong policies and procedures are fundamental for a successful organization. Documented human resources policies and procedures are essential to provide managers a consistent, fair, and efficient approach to employment matters. It also communicates up-to-date information to staff related to specific recruiting issues. It establishes roles and responsibilities and guides for resolving conflicts. They demonstrate compliances in the event of legal complaints or investigations. There are also efficient onboard new staff and contractors. When the company has a written HR policy and procedure manual, that means the current legal and best practice requirements for the provinces, it saves the time and also provides productivity and minimizes the ability so that the company can focus on more and such things as strategic planning, supporting business growth, building work culture, making sure the company has the best people at the right role, and all other essential tasks and HR tasks. Now, over to Ms. Divya.
Manpower Policy of Canada. In 1966, Canadian government established the Department of Manpower and Immigration (DMI) responsible for all manpower policy except unemployment insurance. The Adult Occupational Training Act 1967 under the Canada Manpower Training Plan emphasized training. It was federally founded but no longer included capital grants for facilities and was restricted to adults only. Policy on drug restrictions. Canada's drug regulation or measures of the Drug Act and the Controlled Drug and Substances Act. In addition to control restrictions and for the possession as defined by the Governor in Council. Tax policies. The Department of Finance, Canada develops and evaluates federal tax policies and legislation in the areas of personal income tax, corporate income tax, and sales tax. The collection of taxes or interpretation of tax law are the responsibility of the Canada Revenue Agency. Probationary period. The probationary period for an employee who is disabled and requires job accommodation begins on the day on. The probationary period does not include any period of leave without pay, full-time language training. It does not include of leave with pay of more than 30 consecutive days. And over to Ms. Mahalakshmi.
In Canada, as in many other countries, Career and Employment Service or public service provide free charge through schools, career and employment centers, and community-based organizations. Career service in post-secondary institutions are generally funded through student fees. There is also a private practice sector in career development and career counseling, but it is relatively small compared to public provision. This means that career and employment service are largely dependent on public funds and the priorities of the politicians and senior policy makers. It is therefore critical that career development be well understood by founders, and that ongoing dialogue and consultations take place between the career development sector and appropriate policy bodies. Reiteratively, this has not been the case in North countries. Canada includes. One reason of the insufficiently of consultation between the career development sector and policy bodies is a lack of common language. Public policy bonds and policy makers tend to speak into two languages. One discussion uses terms such as analysis, outcome, accountability, cost and benefits, and evidence based in decision making. The second includes terms such as influence, popularity, power, alliance, interest groups, and change process. Career policy. Career development in both the private and public good. However, career development, lifelong learning, and sustained employability need to be better conducted and reflected in policy that focus on access to information and career service across the lifespan. Career development is essential in laying the foundation for lifelong learning with the K-12 formal educational system. Access in fair from universal and career and educational planning is often submerged by personal and social counseling issues, service and lifelong in principles. The practice access primarily targeted towards youth, most frequently marginalized at risk youth and the unemployed. Large percentage of the population do not have access. In all the countries, the study components of quality career development system were identified. To date, no one country has put all the quality process together. Transparency and ease of access over an individual lifespan and the capacity to meet the needs of diverse range of clients. Particular attention to key transition points during the individual's lifespan. Flexibility and innovation in service delivery to reflect the differing needs and circumstances of diverse client groups. Process to simulate regular review and planning of service. Access to individual guidance by proprietary qualified practitioners for those who need such help. Available times when they need it. Employee benefits. So you have started a new job and it's been a while since you have been to the dentist. You have never had a message and are wondering if it is really or relaxing you have had. Plus, you have got a prescriptions you have been meaning to fill up but have holding off because of the host. But now you are employed. Now you will benefits that cover these healthcare costs, right? Employment insurance, both you and your employer must pay into this. Canada pension plan, both you and your employee must pay into this. Workplace insurance coverage, requirements and premiums for this coverage vary by industry. However, any additional benefits such as insurance, a dental plan or life insurance, are at your employer's discretion to provide. Benefits are often an important part of the competitive compensation package to attract the top talent to your business. Health and dental insurance are some of the perks that come with employment for many, but not all. Further examples of benefits an employer may choose provide include retirement and pension benefits, termination benefits, disability, sickness and accident benefits, medical, hospital, drug or dental benefits, vision care, life insurance, flexible work arrangements, education and training. Visa processing. Visa processing. Determine if you are inadmissible. Unlike some other countries, Canadian immigration has strict laws on who they allow in. Before you decide to move there, make sure you are qualified. Even minor crimes can make you inadmissible to move to Canada. The Canadian government can find you inadmissible if you have ever been convicted of a crime or committed a crime in another country. This includes theft, assault, dangerous driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol, portions of drugs, or trafficking in controlled substance. If you have committed a crime, you can still apply to enter the immigrate to Canada, but you will need to take some additional steps. You will need to work with an immigration officer. The officer will weigh the seriousness of the crime, consider how much time has passed since the crime, and take a look at how you have behaved since. Determine which immigration option you can apply for. Once you know that you are eligible for the entry into Canada, you will need to determine which immigration options is right for you. To move to Canada, you will need a reason. Those reasons include moving for a new job or moving because you already have enough money to live, so don't need to work. On the Government of Canada website, you will need a useful tool to help you figure out which immigration program you are eligible for. You will have to answer a brief series of questions about your age, your employment intentions, and your country of origin. Answer the questions and you will be steered in the direction of which program you can apply for. Choose a private province in Canada to live in. Canada is big, really big. In fact, Canada is second only to Russia in terms of landmass. There are 10 major Canadian provinces. So one of the hardest things to do is determine which province you want to live in. Some provinces have different immigration requirements. For example, there is a special skilled worker visa just for those planning to move to. To determine which province is right for you, you should first decide if you want to live in big city or small town. Then consider the type of schooling you need you for your family or children. Think about the proximity you want to other cities and towns. Apply for express entry. The Government of Canada offers something called express entry, which is available for skilled workers. Whether or not you are eligible for express entry, you will depend on which immigration option you can apply for and where you plan to live. With the express entry, there are different three types: Federal Skilled Work Program, Federal Skilled Trade Program, Canadian Express classes. Each program has its own set of requirements ranging from work experience, language ability to educational level. If you qualify for express entry, you will be entered into a express entry pool where you can expect a much faster processing time. Apply for your Canadian visa. Once you know what kind of visa you need, you have to apply. Even though Canada is one of the few places US citizens can travel to without a visa, you will need if you plan to stay for a while. The forms require basic information to prove your identity, and you will also need a private documents such as passport. If you are moving from Europe, African, or Middle East, you may also need to supply biometrics such as a fingerprint and face scan. If you need to provide biometrics, you can do so at any visa application center. If you receive a letter from the Canadian government that you need to supply biometrics, you can do so at the application support centers in the US. In Europe, you can supply your biometrics in certain visa offices. Pass the language test. Depending on the type of visa and program you are applying to, you will likely have to pass a language test before being welcomed into Canada. Primarily, Canadians speak English and French. So it's best to fluent in at least one of these two languages. If you speak the language, it will be much easier for you will adjust and make the cultural transition. The language test is to confirm that you can listen, speak, read, and write one of the country's two main languages. Prepare to move to Canada. Researching and securing your visa is in the hardest part of the process. The hard work starts once you get accepted into the country and need to start preparing to move. You can't just hope on plan and move there tomorrow. You can't just there are a few things you will need to get ordered before you go. Before you move anywhere, it's a good idea to save up some money and get your finance in order as part of the immigration process to Canada. You may need to prove your assets, so this is something can't ignore. Consult with a lawyer, a banker, and or a financial advisor to determine how much money you can take with you to Canada and what items you can import duty free. Make sure you have enough money for housing, utilities, food, and transportation. If you plan to drive, you will need to be able to afford the proper insurance. Think about all your potential expenses and make sure you have the money to cover your essential needs. As you prepare for your move, gather all your important documents and store them in a safe place. You will need the obvious documents such as your immigrant visa, birth certificate, and driver's license. But there are a lot of other documents you will need as well, from checks to a list of personal effects that you intend to take with you. There are many documents you may not realize you need. Next move over to Mr. Murugan.
Canada and changing nature of its work. One of the more disruptive features of the emerging digital economy is the rise of virtual workers. Work is moving online. Virtual work is growing at an exponential speed and is likely to be part of most Canadian work experience by 2030. Work is becoming more borderless. Virtual workers is available to everyone with an internet connection and a smartphone or tablet to do both high-skilled work on increasingly digital value chains. Work's becoming flexible but uncertain. A global online marketplace will increase self-employment and short-term contracts, making job security and financial stability more difficult to attain. This in turn could challenge the underpinning of Canadian social policy and programs such as employment insurance and the Canadian pension plan. Workplace safety. No one knows the workplace better than the people who work in it. So part 2 of the Canadian Labour Code gives the workplace parties, the employees and employers, a strong role in identifying and resolving health and safety concerns. The provisions of the code are designed to strengthen employers and employees' self-reliance in dealing with occupational health and safety issues and thereby making workplace more safer. There are certain rights given to the employee under certain labor code. Rights of employees under the labor codes are the right to know, the right to participate, and the right to refuse dangerous work. You also have duties with respect to your health and safety, and that is of our colleagues. Inspections. Regular inspections help ensure that occupational health and safety hazards are addressed before they result in possible injuries. The code requires the Health and Safety Committee to carry out monthly inspections in the workplace in whole or in part. In the event that a hazard is identified and the committee is not authorized to remove it, recommendations must be forwarded to the employer. The employer is required to provide a written response to the committee within 30 days on how the issue will be resolved. Working hours. The normal average working hours of a Canadian employee is 40 hours per month and 80 hours in a week. For example, workplace hazards, for example, chemicals. Every workplace has chemicals ranging from cleaning products to full-scale chemical production. If chemicals are not used, stored, and handled properly, they can cause injury, illness, disease, fire, explosions, or property damage. To avoid injury, analyze the chemical and take appropriate precaution. WHMIS, which stands for Workplace Hazardous Material Information System, is a system for providing information on the safe use of hazardous products in Canadian workplaces. We have product labels, safely data sheet, and worker education and training programs. Retirement plans in Canada. The source of retirement income in Canada include registered saving plans, government and workplace pension plans, and personal investment accounts. Registered retirement saving plans, which are also called as RRSP. This is considered as the best retirement plan in Canada. The RRSP was designed by the Canadian government to hold your retirement savings. The money you contribute to the account during your working years continue to grow tax-free until when you are retired and start making withdrawals. The annual RRSP contribution limit in 2020 was $27,230 and it increased to $27,830 in 2021. One good thing about an RRSP is that your contributions can be deducted from your taxable income, thus lowering the taxes you pay when you file your tax return. Termination of an employment. An employer must provide an employee with at least 2 weeks written notice of their intention to terminate the employment of an employee in written notice. The employer must pay 2-week wages at the regular rate to the employee. Unjust dismissal. Part 3 of the Canadian Labour Code provides a procedure for making complaints against a dismissal that an employee considers to be unjust. The rules of resignation in Canada. Formal notice should be given to an employer by an employee. The reason for quitting the job should be included after given. The proper notice to employer may not change the employee's rate of pay or any other conditions of employment, such as hours of work or benefits. Must pay the employee all the wages he is entitled to receive at the end of the notice period. These are the insights of the IHRD of Canada. Hope you all had a takeaway from this video. Thank you.